Hey guys, it's T. Kyle, and today is a follow-up to my last video where I asked you guys to let me know which of these facts I gave about myself you wanted me to elaborate on. And if you haven't seen that video, you don't know what I'm talking about, I will put up like a clickable link here and down below as well. You guys overwhelmingly responded that you wanted me to tell my paranormal stories. So there's a couple of them that I have, and the one I'm going to be telling you guys today is actually about how a ghost saved my life. I know, that sounds ridiculous, but okay, so to preface this whole entire video, yes, I do believe in paranormal things. I do believe in the afterlife and ghosts and energy and just other things. That could be a whole nother video. But as much as I'm into all that stuff, I'm also very much into debunking things. So just know that going into this story. I'm not one of those people that just sees like an orb floating and it's like, oh my God, a ghost is in my house. It's like, no, that was a piece of dust. Calm down. Like I can handle both sides of it. Okay, so just wanted to say that. Okay, so let's set the stage for the story. So this is in 2013 on Fire Island. And if you don't know what Fire Island is, it's an island. There's no cars, no streets. You're very one with like nature. It's a lot of nice houses in nature and it's very quiet and it has a very good energy out there. So this is my first time going out. This was 2013. I was staying in a house with 7 other people. We got a house for a week. We get there, we go to the house, and I immediately get this like overwhelming feeling of just safety. Like, I don't know how to describe it. That gut feeling in your stomach, it can be a bad feeling, it can be a good feeling. Sometimes, you know, I'll be in a situation and I'll immediately get a vibe off of someone or a vibe off of a room that I'm in. And I have trusted that instinct my whole life and it's worked out really well for me. So I'm very much in tune with my intuition. So it's not like I got this like negative feeling. I felt like I was home. Like I was like, okay, I'm welcome here, if that makes sense. So we arrive on Thursday, fast forward to night. Now, this is the night where I had my little accident on the water taxi and smashed my head open. If you do not know this story, I wrote a gift story about my concussion experience. I won't go into the whole story here. I will link that below if you care to know more about it, whatever. So basically, I fell on this water taxi and it was rocky and I was like doing some dance move and I like flipped over, smashed my head. Now, before you start saying, oh, well, it's because you cracked your head open and you're crazy and blah, blah, no, stay with me here. There are witnesses to the things that happened and let me just explain. Okay, so when I hit my head on this boat, I remember everything vividly. I was not blacked out. Like, I remember the whole thing, and it hurt like hell. And I just remember I didn't lose consciousness. I wasn't seeing double. I wasn't, slurring my speech. There was a guy there, he was asking me all these questions about myself, and I'm answering them perfectly. So I'm just like, okay, whatever. I just bumped my head, right? We go back to the house. I jump in bed. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna sleep this off. I feel okay. I go to bed. About an hour later, I am woken up by the sounds of our fire alarms going off. All these alarms are going off. I fly out of bed and I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, to my roommate, I'm like, get up, there's a fire alarm. And he's just like, who cares, whatever. So I run out into the kitchen. I'm thinking there's a fire somewhere. What if it's carbon monoxide and we can't see it? How are we gonna get everyone out? And I'm panicking and I go out into the kitchen and my other roommate is there and he's like, what is going on? So we go over to the alarm system and it's like on the wall in this thing. You know how if you set an alarm, it says like alarm set or alarm activated and it just kind of is like a standby message. So we're looking at this thing. The alarms are going off, like coming out of this thing and coming out of the alarms and it's not doing anything. And then it starts like going in and out. It's like, like all these weird, sorry, that was weird. Like all these, it's like coming in and out and like all this weird shit. We're looking at this thing, nothing's happening. It starts dying out and we're like, okay, maybe something's like faulty with, I don't know what's going on. So the two of us decide to sleep in the living room, which is like in this front area of the house. We just figured we'll stay out in the common areas just in case something happens. So the alarms it keeps like going off every like half hour. Now I'm not thinking anything at this point at all, by the way. I'm thinking like there's carbon monoxide and we're gonna die. So I go to sleep, wake up next day. We had a barbecue, we had a party. I was in pain and just not into it. I wound up sleeping most of the day and missed the party and slept and whatever. This is when things start getting weirder. Now, I'm thinking I'm okay. I was not nauseous, no vomiting, no double vision, no anything else. Now it's Monday afternoon. We go to happy hour. After like an hour and a half, I was just exhausted. I wanted to go home, so I go back home. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna nap. So I'm home in the house by myself. All of my roommates went to happy hour. None of them came back with me, so I'm alone in the house. I prop up on the couch because I'm like, I can keep my head up and not have to lean on it. So I'm laying on this couch in the living room, and all of a sudden I hear someone start walking around the kitchen. You know that sound that bare feet make when they're kind of like a little wet on like a wood floor? So it's kind of like smack, 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 like, you know what I mean? So I hear someone walking around the kitchen, and I'm like, oh my God, one of my roommates is making food. And I admittedly didn't want to talk to them because I was exhausted, and I was just like, I'm gonna pretend like I'm asleep. So I'm like this on the couch, and I hear the person walking around, and then the footsteps stop. And I'm like, okay, okay. Like, are you gonna leave, or can you leave now? And all of a sudden, it's just boom, 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 running. And you know that feeling you get when someone like comes over your shoulder or is like not comes over. You know that feeling when someone is standing behind you and you just get that like tingling in like the back of your neck and stuff? Okay, so I'm sitting there like this, and it's just like boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, and it comes, over here, and I feel this like tingle up the back of my neck, and it's just like, Kyle, in my ear. And I feel it. Like I feel breath in my ear, like in my ear hole. It's like, and I'm like, and I fling around, and there's no one there. And I'm like, bitch! And I'm not thinking, again, at this point in time, I'm not thinking, oh, there's a ghost in the house. I'm thinking that my head is smashed and I'm starting to hallucinate, right? I get up, I'm like, okay, hello? Is anyone home? Like, Matt, nothing. Dead silent. No one is there. I go upstairs, no one's there. I go into the one room, no one's there. I'm like, okay, there's only one exit in this house, and I'm sleeping next to it. What the fuck? So I start getting a little more nervous now because I'm thinking, what if something's going on with my head injury and it's just delayed, which can happen. I'm like, I'm gonna give this another night. So Tuesday, things start getting weirder. This was the incident that kind of was the last straw for me. Tuesday morning, I get up, I have breakfast, and then I'm like, I want to go back and take a nap because I am not a morning person. So I go back into my room and I close the door, and I left the door a little bit open just because I kind of wanted to hear like what was going on outside the room. I just felt more comfortable with the door being a little bit cracked open. So I lay down and I doze off, and all of a sudden I'm woken up again by someone shaking me on the left side. So like I'm laying back like this, and on my left side the door is that way. So I'm laying there like this, like whatever, and all of a sudden it's like shaking me like over here, and I'm like, what the fuck? So I wake up and I look over to my left, and there is a shadow standing at the side of my bed over my bed. So I see this shadow, and I'm just like, I think it's my roommate, and I'm just like, ugh, can you like let me nap for a second? Like, and as I'm saying that, it just sort of dissipates, and I see the door. The door is still not moved. It's not open. The door is not closed. The door is the same way that I left it when I went to sleep. And I was just like, I felt myself being shaken. I saw my feet, like my body was rocking. Something was shaking me. So I immediately think there's something really wrong from me hitting my head. I have to go, and I have to go now because I think I'm hallucinating, right? So I pack up my stuff, I get on the ferry, and I'm out. You're probably thinking at this point, well, you smashed your head. Obviously, you're gonna see things and hear things and blah, 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 blah. But this is where there was a shift in stuff. I go to the emergency room. They do the MRI, and she basically says, you have a mild concussion. No internal bleeding, nothing serious. You just need to rest up and take care of yourself. And so I was like, oh, would I be hallucinating at all? And she's like, no, like there's not really that much damage to cause that, and you would probably have double vision before you were seeing hallucinations. So I'm like, okay. So I'm talking to the doctor about symptoms and just how to heal and blah, blah, blah. And she's talking to my mom, and she's basically just telling her, you know, just check on him every 4 hours, ask him a couple questions, just make sure that there's no change in symptoms. So there's this kind of rule where, you know, you're supposed to wake a person up every couple of hours just to check in on their condition. Has anything gotten worse? I go back to my parents' house where I stayed for about a week, and I slept like a baby. Nothing woke me up. Nothing was blowing in my ear. No footsteps, no nothing. I slept like a rock. And that's where I was kind of like, why did all of a sudden everything just stop? Nothing's waking me up. No fire alarms are going off. That's when I started to think something was waking me up in that house every couple of hours. The fire alarms, the whatever the fuck was standing next to my bed, like it was just this shadow. Whoever or whatever was walking around our kitchen and then ran over and just like called my name in my ear. There was something in that house waking me up every couple of hours. And that's when I started to kind of think like, wait a minute. I also got an update from one of my roommates who actually reported to the realtor about the fire alarm situation, how the fire alarms went off one night. And they went and checked out the system and they checked out the house and they found nothing wrong with it. So this is really when I start to think like, wait a minute, what if there was something in the house that was looking out for me? I have felt that there has been almost like a guardian angel type situation that I've had throughout my life that has guided me in various ways. And looking back now at the situation, there was something making sure that I was waking up every couple of hours to check on myself. I felt good energy in the house. I felt welcome. I felt safe. Just the timeline of everything, you know, the way the fire alarms went off, it was just bizarre. You know, I'm not a religious person, but I am spiritual, and most of my experiences have been more positive. I've had there was a time I went to Eastern State Penitentiary that we ran into something. We lived in a house once that had shadow figures in the basement. Those two situations, I was like, these aren't good spirits, but this instance was. I really do feel like there was something looking out for me, and I'm glad that there was. And yeah, I thought that I would share this story with you guys. And I know that there's a couple people out there who can probably relate to this. So yeah. So leave me a comment below what story you'd like to hear next. If it's another paranormal story, if you guys want me to tell another story from my last video. I have a couple in mind, and yeah, thanks for watching. If you guys like this video, make sure to let me know by giving me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I will see you guys next week with another story. Bye guys.